is happening, everybody? I want to do a little video on. I just did a extended idle switch in my '98 SE Cherokee. This is a small little brief history on this Cherokee. This Cherokee was a township-owned Cherokee, and it has. I bought it with 64,000 miles on it, and it's super duper clean. And right now it has 68,000 miles on it, so it's kind of a baby still. It's a little pup. Anyway, I want to shoot the video. I just put an extended idle switch in this truck. This is an AW4 automatic. It's a 4-liter with an AW4 automatic and an NP 231 T case. The extended idle switches came in police package Cherokees only, and you can only put them in an automatic. Manual trannies, the wire that's in this harness is non-existing. Automatics only you can do this to. The pin in, most guys do, they connect it onto the pin, which is this black plug. There's different color plugs. There's a gray, a white, and a black. Right, I'll give you a close-up of that. Okay, so you got the gray plug, the white plug, and the black plug. If you take, this actually is a cover right here. So if you pull that off, the A12 pin, which is the middle pin on this far side here near the radiator support. It's the middle pin. There's 3 pins on this side, and it's the middle pin furthest to the radiator support. Okay, there's the radiator support. This plug, that's your A12 pin. It's a gray wire. Okay, I didn't want to put my wire, I didn't want to tap into this A12 pin on the plug here. Okay, so if you follow this plug's harness, right, it runs right here. This is the harness for that first plug. So all I did was find the A12 wire, which is a gray wire, right? Tap into it here. Okay, all you're doing is running a ground wire from that gray wire to a switch to a ground source. When that switch is in the on position, it raises the idle from approximately 600 to 1,000 RPM. Okay? When you raise your RPMs to 1,000 RPM, you're spinning your water pump faster, you're spinning your alternator faster. Okay, so there's less of a chance, if you turn an accessory on, there's less of a chance of the volts dropping down a little bit. The volts should stay steady when you're at 1,000 RPM. Okay, so I tapped into the gray wire over here. So this is about midway in the harness right here. Okay, it's all taped up. So I tapped into it there. I ran the wire down through, I don't know if you can see it, that plug right there, that harness plug that goes through the firewall. That's the gray wire right there. It just kind of like goes in through the harness. All right, now if we come inside, I did something a little bit different with my switches. Okay, so your center switches, let me just turn let me kind of move the shifter for you. Yep. Let me shut the door. I don't want to have the buzzer go off. So your middle switch panel right here, that's in all Cherokees. Okay, sometimes you have 3. I think this one might be the stock switch that went here, might be an overdrive switch, but you got rear defroster, rear defogger, whatever, rear wiper, and this one sometimes is an automatic. The overdrive off button usually sits here. So instead of getting like the stock switch, I just chose to drill a hole through this plate and put a toggle switch there. So when it's up, it's on. And I'll show you. I don't know if you're going to be able to. Right? I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear this on the video, but hopefully you can. Right, truck's running. So if you flip the switch on, right, it raises it up. Okay. You can hear a pitch in the motor. That's on. Okay. And that's off. Right? So, like I said, instead of buying the stock switch, you could just drill a hole in this plate, put a toggle switch in, and all you're doing, the wire that comes from the harness goes to one side of the switch. The other side of the switch, I got it connected to the ground wire that's on the cigarette lighter, and that's a good ground source. Okay, so one end of the switch comes from the harness to the switch. The other end of the switch goes to the ground wire that's on the cigarette lighter, and that's a good ground. Everything works perfectly, right? So that's my setup that I have for my extended idle, and I'll show you the wire, the harness on the fender well. There's two harnesses on the fender well. There's a fatter one and there's a skinnier one. Okay, the skinnier one, if you follow this skinny harness, it comes from the end plug here, and it goes down and comes up right here, and anywhere right here. Okay, cut the harness. Well, you don't have to cut the harness open. Just peel this. This got wire cover. See this wire cover? Just open the wire cover, and you can see all the wires that are in there. And take the wire cover, peel the wire cover back, and look for the gray. It's a solid gray wire. What you could do is get a test light, ground the test light to anything. I think I grounded it to this bolt right here. You can just ground the test light, get the test light, and probe it into the gray wire. With your truck running, when you probe the test light into the gray wire, your idle should come up. That's how you know you have the gray wire. Okay? And then just tap into that wire, run it to the switch. And it's really pretty easy. It's not rocket science at all. All you're doing is grounding that gray wire, and it raises the idle from, I think it's about 600 RPM, a Cherokee. The idle for a Cherokee, I think it's a 600 RPM. So all it's doing when the switch, the extended idle switch is on, it raises the idle from 600 to 1,000. And like I said, the advantage of when you're parked, raising the RPMs to 1,000 RPM increases the alternator speed, increases the water pump. Okay, so it raises your volts to a more solid voltage. Instead of at an idle, if you turn an accessory on, you kind of get a little dip in your volts. Okay, so when it's at 1,000 RPM, you're not going to get that dip in your volts if you have like the AC on. If you're parked somewhere and you got like the AC on, your headlights on or something, you're not going to really get a dip in your volts like that. So it has its advantages. It's not for everybody. It has its advantages. It's also good if you're doing winching. If you're winching somebody else, your truck is in park and you're winching somebody else, you know, you can do it for that too. But I mean, most guys will just put their foot on the throttle and raise the RPMs like that. Like I said, it's not for everybody. I like it. It's kind of a novel thing to have, you know. It works for me. You know, I use it every morning. When I get to my work, I park and I sit there for about 20 minutes before I go inside, and I'll just kick the idle up at 1,000. You know, I'll have my radio on, and you know, the heater or AC or whatever will be on. You know, I use it for little things like that. So, like I said, it's not for everybody. It's really easy to put in. All you need is a toggle switch. You don't need to get the stock factory extended idle switch. You can just do it with a toggle switch. You can mount the toggle switch anywhere in the truck. Anywhere you want to mount it. It's your truck, mount it anywhere you want. I chose to put it in kind of that stock location. So anyway, that's about it. Hope you guys are having a good day. If you got any questions about my Cherokee, and this thing is just, I love this thing. It's so solid. It's so rock solid. It's crazy. But anyway, you got any questions, comments, suggestions, anything about the Cherokee, about the channel, whatever, put it in the comments section below. Keep it nice. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Take care.